Now that we are done with the Saturn versions, it's time to move on to the next big thing. At least when it's still alive. Here's a little history. With the colossal failure of this thing over here, Sega have to bite their tongue to work harder on the next attempt. Enter the Sega Dreamcast, released 2 plus 2 years after Saturn. The hardware itself is much more cost effective, runs on GD-ROM instead of DVD-ROM, and it was the first ever console to have a built-in modem to allow for online play. Unlike the previous failure where it was popular in Japan, this time it's the opposite. Sales weren't that good over there, while over here, internationally, the sales is surprisingly impressive. But I still haven't owned one. Okay, maybe I could get one now since it will be cheaper, am I right? Damn it! Daytona USA for Dreamcast was first unveiled at Sega Gamers Day 2000 in November of that year under the name Daytona USA Network Racing. During an interview, Sega stated the game will be an enhanced version of the original title, featuring new graphics and new physics that also plays similarly to the arcade title. Remember when I mentioned the modem? Well, the game will also incorporate the ability for players around the world to race against each other. So that's the short history of Dreamcast and Daytona USA. No need to thank me. The game will eventually get released on December 21st, 2000 for Japan, May 11 for PAL with the name Daytona USA 2001, and March 13, 2001 for US, simply called Daytona USA. That's it. Lame. Regardless, with all the pros that I mentioned, it's gotta be promising, right? I mean, how could they screw this up? This gotta be good, right? Before I get there, I guess I should mention what makes the game good. First up is of course the graphics, which are 10 seconds ahead of CCE and the launch title, which looks pretty bland and pale compared to the arcade counterpart. 10 seconds lead where you won't have to worry about undercut from your rival. Sega took everything good about the graphics and continue to improve here. The graphics this time around looks bright, which adds to the level of immersiveness of stock car racing. And with the environment vibrant in colors, it feels like you are part of the racing scene. Let's not count out the fact it looks better for the eyes of so many players. No more blocky texture, no more low polygons, and much less pop-in. 3 factors that paved the way to the success of Daytona Arcade. Number 1, graphics. 2, gameplay. And 3, soundtrack. Number 1, check. But they didn't stop here, as for the first time in Daytona console port history, they were able to make the game run at a solid 60 frames per second, just like what the OG arcade able to do, which is a big progress. As we all know, the Sega Saturn hardware is so complex, and added onto the fact that it was rushed to the market means they can't experiment with too many aspects, including frame rate. Fortunately, Sega were able to redeem themselves with the Dreamcast. Now with better hardware and components, developer can utilize it to the maximum, and man, they didn't disappoint it. You know, give SpongeBob a good spatula and he will do the rest. The game runs at a consistent frame rate with not even a single sign of frame drop regardless of what happened. Psst, hey, let's not talk about online because I can't test it. But besides that, you can bet your whole house that the whole console were able to get the job done, running the game as it should be. It's like a wet dream becoming true. It's like getting a TurboGrafx 16 for Christmas. Basically, TLDR, no one thought this would be possible. After so many years of frustration, looks like Sega were able to deliver a good product for once. I'll give credit where it's due for CCE. As much as I wholeheartedly enjoyed the game more than the launch title port, but when we look back at the game versus this, it became clear that something seriously is lacking from the base game. Gameplay wise remains as the same, as there's no need to explain because you already know the drill. The game includes a selection of 10 cars for you to choose, with the latter 6 required to be unlocked. Also, all 5 courses from previous Daytona makes a return with 3 new courses being included in the rosters. Circuit Pixie is basically an oval resembling a real-life speedway. Mermaid Lake, a figure 8 track which also looks like a speedway. And Rin Rin Rink, a track with long straights that is not a speedway. Unpopular opinion, I think they all are bland. Apart from a couple winding turns and long straights, there is nothing else that actively challenges you to the limit. It's as if Sega have run out of idea to make a new track and they just draw whatever they have on their mind and call it a day. It looks bland and carbon copy of each other. The cars that were unlocked from the get-go offer different playstyle. The iconic Hornet is back, although I find the car to be strange. The car looks bulky, looks thick and slightly wider. Perhaps they try to emulate the actual stock car, but it still looks weird. Is it me or does anyone else agree? Comment below. Back to the cars, they all have their specific statistic that suits different playstyles. You know, like different flavor of cakes. The Hornet is all-rounder car. There's this one with good speed but terrible handling. There's also this one with good handling but terrible speed. It all boils down to your preferences, but I always stick with the good old Hornet because that is the car that got me through the entire 3 weeks. Apart from selecting cars/tracks, you can also have the ability to switch different tires for better or worse handling, and selecting different track layout. When you are done with single race, then head to the championship where you aim to become the best racer in the world. Just like RC Day Go. You start off at the bottom of the championship where of course you have to place higher to score points to finish in the designated position to progress. But with a twist, you don't just finish first to gain points, as whenever you are leading the race, you will also earn points, kinda like NASCAR with the bonus point rules. And trust me, you will need every single one of them. While you are racing, you can enjoy the awesome soundtracks. Just like Circuit Edition, the original tune returned again, along with some remixes to keep you relaxed. Don't worry, those bland vocal tracks from CCE didn't make the cut. fight through each race, qualify the championship, and that's how you unlock the 6 cars that I mentioned. Only if you can do it, because the game is hindered by one of the biggest problems. That's right, the controls. I saved the worst for last. I heard lots of fans that hates the control, and you know what? I fully agree. The controls is the biggest hurdle that held me back like a caravan. For every 2 steps that Sega were able to leap forward, they somehow tripped themselves 1 step backward again. If CCE makes me hate the game due to the sluggish control, then 2001 makes me hate the game due to the sensitive control. Oh my hornet! It makes me want to throw my not Dreamcast controller at the wall next to me. I simply hate the control. If you watch my review on Midnight Run, then you will understand what I mean with sensitive controls, and because it's pretty similar to Midnight Run. By gently touching the analog stick, your car then snaps to that respective direction, and you could say it's a good thing. But then you come towards a wall, and the real problem arises. When you try to correct your car trajectory, the overly sensitive control end up entangling your car movement, rocking your car back and forth like fighting for a contract. Because of that, you weren't able to calculate the exact amount of steering needed to maneuver through the tight turns. You will either turn too early and crash, or turn too late and crash. Turn too much and spin out easily. There is no middle ground. This game makes me start questioning whether if I'm bad in life. I feel very depressed trying to gain control of this mess of a control. No matter how much I try, no matter how much I experiment, I still couldn't get anything to work. Wait, what do you mean I can change the sensitivity? You gotta be kidding me. Well, I guess that problem has been solved. But theoretically, is there a real way to fix it? Actually, there's a way. The solution? Well, listen carefully. Spend your money on a racing wheel, because apparently, and I'm not making this up, playing with wheel is the ideal way as the car controls as they should be. You gotta be kidding me. So all the time I wasted attempting to wrestle with this damn control, all the time I could use a wheel? You know what? I'm done. I'm screw this project, screw these 3 weeks. I feel cheated. Can't do it anymore. I'm done. Anyway, I was infuriated by the game that I decided to look up more information. And upon further research, it turns out this game was made by Genki, the developer behind the famous Tokyo Extreme Racer. So one could wonder if Genki uses TXR as the benchmark to make this port, but then forgot to remove the benchmark point to let the game stand on its own. Why does this sound so familiar? I know Sega isn't responsible for this, but come on. Didn't they check this before releasing the game? Can't they quality check it? Whatever. I'm done talking about the controls. Once again, the game gives you a middle finger for not using a wheel. Thanks for that, Sega. Overall, Daytona USA 2001 is an okay port, Graphics are better, presentation looks good, but the gameplay ruined everything again. So that's all 3 Daytona USA ports on their respective console, thus coming to an end for this 3-week saga. So the age-old question, are the console ports bad? Well, here's my verdict. Daytona USA, launch title, is pretty bad. CCE is a decent attempt to make a Daytona port. Despite the shortcoming, it's still my favorite one. And 2001 is, one word, frustrating. At the end, it's fun to play through all of them to form my own opinion. Sega missed out on tons of opportunities to impress their fan base and ends up making too much bad decisions. The damage has been done when the Saturn failed, Dreamcast failed, and Sega have to withdraw from the hardware market, which is sad to see. If only they have the mentality of Sony and Nintendo, maybe things will be better. We will never know. But what did we know is that Sega finally gave us a good console port in 2011 on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and we demand a re-release on the Switch and modern consoles. Come on Sega, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? You have the foundation to make a good port, so do it again on newer hardware. You already have the Sega Ages attempt, especially virtual racing, so do it from there on. What's stopping you? Anyway, that's all I gotta say with this video. If you enjoyed what you see, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss a thing. Comment below your opinion on the console ports. Have you played them? What do you think about them? Let's have a peaceful discussion. And if you want to follow me what I'm doing, follow me on Twitter because I'm mostly active there. Thank you for watching, and excuse me while I wait for NASCAR to return.